rich, full-flavored lager with a crisp, refreshing taste. A reward for those with a fighting spirit. You've earned this, so hold it up high. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
It is no longer the best-selling beer in the U.S. The title now goes to Modelo Especial. According to data compiled by consulting firm Bump Williams, the Mexican lager was the most popular beer in the country in May.
Any tax imposed on imports effectively acts as a tax on your own exports. Let's take, for example, America and Donald Trump's import tariff tax policies. Let's focus on an example, say, beer. America's favorite beer is Modelo. Not only is it cool and the best-selling beer in America, it's also Mexican manufactured. So let's say, for the sake of argument, that Donald Trump imposes an import tariff tax on Mexican exports, therefore imports to America by Americans of Modelo beer. Now, not only will that mean a reduced market share for Mexico's Modelo Especial, because they will have diminished market share in America because the cost is more expensive for consumers, less consumer choice. It also means that American exports of barley go down. Why is that? The quicker among you will have already spotted the reason why. Because Mexico is one of America's largest purchasers of American barley, because America, will export barley to Mexico. Mexico uses the barley to make delicious beers such as Modelo Especial, which is then exported to the American consumer market in the form of delicious beers that Americans wish to purchase and drink. So, an import tariff tax effectively serves as an export tax, therefore hurting American exporters. We can take other examples of this. Let's say, for example, talk about Mexican steel and aluminium. Mexico sells millions of tons of steel and aluminium into the American market. Let's say Donald Trump puts a further 10, 20, whatever percentage tariff tax on that. Yes, that'll mean diminished market share in America of Mexican steel and aluminium. And as an aside, for anyone thinking, oh, but then there'll be more American manufacturers of steel and aluminium, they'll take over the market share. True, but it will not lead to any drop in price for American customers. Why? Because American manufacturers of steel and aluminium are not charities, they're businesses. They'll grab the greater market share without really increasing their competitiveness whatsoever and just pocket the difference and keep the prices as is. They're not going to lower it for the consumers at all. But the broader point is, America puts a 25% tax on imported Mexican steel and aluminium. Mexico retaliates. Their reciprocal tariffs will be probably in the form of barley. Why barley? Because Mexico imports so much American barley. Or corn. Mexico also imports huge quantities of American corn. There will be a reciprocal tariff response, whether it be barley or corn. So the bottom line here is really simple. It's not rocket science, ladies and gentlemen. Any tax on imports effectively functions as a tax on your own exports. It's not really going to make America great again, but it will make America less competitive and reduce choice for American consumers.
Meet Coater 7, North America's largest glass coater for applying magnetron sputtered vacuum deposition coatings, or MSVD coatings. Located at Vitro's Wichita Falls glass plant, Coater 7 represents a dramatic leap in glass coating technology. This glass coater manufactures Vitro's full range of low-E MSVD coatings and coatings yet to be conceived on a range of glass substrates at various sizes and thicknesses, including oversized glass.
Number two, all products are also inputs. Vitro. Not only is it North America's largest manufacturer of industrial glass, it's also a Mexican company, not an American company. It's a Mexican company that employs tens and tens of thousands of American workers, such as you just saw the ad, the manufacturing plant in Wichita, in the United States of America. Now, the thing is, journalists will often, when discussing tariffs, talk about, understandably, the more relatable items, the price of eggs or Modelo beer, perhaps. But this disguises a more important and more damaging aspect with Trump's tariff tax policy agenda. You see, the biggest harm inflicted by tariffs usually comes in the form that people don't see or realize. So rather than talk about the price of eggs or Modelo, let's discuss Vitro. Founded in 1909 in Monterrey, Mexico, it remains headquartered there. Now, few of us know, but you should know, for the case of this example, that the market for purchasing large flat glass is very important if you say want to buy a new apartment one day, or maybe your children want to buy an affordable new home. You see, guess what happens when Trump imposes 25% import tariff tax on Mexican companies like Vitro, which is the largest North American manufacturer of large flat glass in the world. It means the cost of construction goes up for companies that build new apartment blocks. You know, equally, if you want to think about the price of aluminium, when most of us come into contact with aluminium, it's usually merely in the form of canned goods that we purchase at the supermarket. But, you know, if you want that affordable holiday, you need to buy a plane ticket, purchase that seat. Do you know who requires Mexican aluminium or Canadian aluminium and steel? Airplane companies. You see, the point here is all products are also inputs in the economy. So if you put an import tariff tax on product here, say aluminium, it means more expensive plane tickets. If you put import tariff taxes on Mexican industrial glassware, it means you Americans have more expensive apartment buildings when you want to buy a new apartment, move home, or have your kids get their first affordable home. All products are also inputs. It's not rocket science, but it's very important you understand. Tariffs don't make life more affordable. They do make it more expensive. And number 3, Americans might have short memories, but others will remember their past actions. This is something that's easily overlooked when it comes to trade wars, import tariffs, reciprocal tariff responses. Let's take an example, concrete example. In 2018-19, when President Donald Trump imposed his trade war with China, the first one, Beijing undertook a slow but increasingly successful policy of decoupling its reliance, or some might say exposure, to the United States of America. Yes, in January 2020, President Xi Jinping pledged to the President Donald Trump that he would commit to $200 billion worth of imports from America over 2 years. The reality is, by 2021, not only had China not actually delivered on this, it hadn't even matched pre-Trump trade war levels. The point here is, what you do now has a damaging long-term relationship with another country, bilateral relationships. An example would be the Peterson Institute for Global Economics. They highlighted just how much US exports have been falling behind today in 2025 all other global competitors in the Chinese market. You see, if we can even go back to the 2022, when US exporters had begun to fall further and further behind their foreign peers in the Chinese market. Once upon a time, major US manufacturers, automobiles, Boeing, jets, they all dominated Chinese marketplace, just to name a couple of examples. They're all gone now. Semiconductor sales have also trailed off by 2022 and have never returned due to in part US export policy controls. US service exports have also plunged, not just because of the pandemic, but also before that. With the tariff wars, which were pre-pandemic under Trump, they've never bounced back. Pandemic just made it worse. The point here is China learned from the first exposure to a tariff trade war and steadily changed their economic relationships, increased their exports to the European Union and reduced their exports to the United States of America. You see, when America imposes these kind of trade wars with countries that they have important strategic foreign policy, trade, whatever bilaterally important relationships, Americans like Donald Trump often have very short memories. But the people who suffered that American imposed trade war have long memories and change behavior. China learned that in 2018, 2019. I reckon I'm willing to put my academic credentials on the line to say that Canada and America's relationship has now fundamentally changed after this. American memories might be short. Canadian memories, Mexican memories, Chinese memories, European Union memories, British memories will not prove nearly so short. America great again? More like making America alone.